My final argument depends not on the interpretation of texts, but on the great course of history itself. God reveals himself in Scripture and in its inspired traditions, but he reveals himself even more surely in history. For what happens must be by his will. History shall be my proof. Once the Jews were a mighty nation, with a temple in Jerusalem which was the wonder of the world. God decided that the temple should be razed to the ground, and instead the Christian church should arise, with its center in Rome and its great cathedrals in many lands, each outshining that temple at the height of its glory. And what of the Jews? They have become slaves and exiles. Is this not the strongest proof that they have lost and the church has won? The Messiah has come, and the Christian church is the living proof. Let the Jews cease to fight against the truth of history. Instead of dragging out a miserable existence that can only become more and more wretched as time goes on, let them join the triumph of the church. The Jew turned his face against the Messiah when he came. Now God turns his face against them. As a Jew, I suffered under that curse. But Jesus Christ released me. God's church is merciful. The door is still open. Let the Jews enter and share in God's manifold blessings.
Your Majesty, I must say at once that Brother Pablo's arguments have left me entirely unconvinced. That the Messiah has come, says the good brother, is proved by the triumph of the church. I would assume that means we are now living in the Messianic era, prophesied in the Bible. Glory was prophesied, and glory is here in the shape of the Pope, and the priesthood, and cathedrals, and mighty rulers. So says Brother Pablo. But is this indeed the Messianic era? When we read from the Bible of the prophecies of Ezekiel and Zechariah about the coming of the Messiah, what is the obvious thing that strikes us? It is that the coming of the Messiah will make the world a different place. Instead of a world of strife and bloodshed, of ceaseless agony and famine and warfare, there will be a world of peace and goodwill, a time of Sabbath, when swords are beaten into plowshares, and the wolf will lie down with the lamb, and the peace of God will reach into the four corners of the earth. This is the time of the Messiah to which we Jews look forward, when the apparently meaningless agonies of the past will all prove to have had meaning after all, and true history will begin. When our struggles will prove to have been the birth pangs of a better world. But what has happened? Over 1,200 years after the birth of Jesus, I look around the world. Is this a world of peace? Have the swords been beaten into plowshares? No. The world is more full of war than ever. And the most warlike of peoples, a people whose fierceness is greater than even that of the wolves, are the people of Christendom.
He blasphemes! Boo! Boo! Silence!
Your Majesty, you are a great king in Christendom. Your knights in armor clash like thunder. You have your foot soldiers and archers and engines of war. If you believe that the Messiah has come, why do you not dismiss all your soldiers and enter into the peace of God? Because the world is full of war and armies. Not far away is the army of the Muslims, and beyond them the army of the Tartars, and beyond them who knows what other armies. Where does it say in the writings of the prophets, which you say you believe, that the Messiah would bring not love, but hate? Not peace, but war. The time of the Messiah was to be a time of justice. I look around the world which you Christians have made out of your faith in Jesus. Is it a world of justice? It seems that in the Christian world everybody lords over somebody. Yet there is no Jewish aristocracy, no Jewish slavery, no Jew is lord over other Jews. What other nation in the world has learned to live like that? I ask you, have you a higher standard to teach us? What has happened to the new heart Ezekiel promised when he said, I will give you a heart of flesh instead of a heart of stone? If this is the new world of which the prophets spoke, it would have been better if they had remained silent.
Your Majesty, I must speak. We Christians are never nearer to Christ than when we suffer from oppression. As Christ himself suffered, a slave can come to Christ as well as or better than an emperor.
That is very comfortable doctrine for oppressors to hear. I don't believe anyone is better for being a slave.
Freedom and equality must wait until the second coming.
It seems all the true benefits of the coming of the Messiah must wait until the second coming.
The first coming has not been without its benefits.
Yes, the triumph of the church. Brother Pablo has made a great point of this, and the failure of the Jews, and their suffering.